Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Bryan with another knife review for you, and one that I'm very excited about. This is the new Spyderco Shaman. Cool name right off the bat. And this knife, man, hey, I think the best analogy, have you guys ever met one of those guys who's just like this big, burly dude? He's all ripped and veins sticking out everywhere, and he just looks like he can't be harmed by conventional weapons. You ever met somebody like that? One of those guys looks like you'd smack him with a 2x4 and he would just take it from you and ask why you did it and then beat you to death with that 2x4. This is like that guy in knife form. This thing is a bad mother effer. This thing is a very beefy, hard duty, heavy use knife, and I was so excited to get my hands on it because, as I've talked about before, one of the knives I carry a whole lot. I love the Spyderco Manix 2. Still do. My affinity for that has not drained in any way. This is the M4 version, but I do carry other. I've got a lightweight and stuff too. I love the ergonomics of it. I love the shape of it a lot. I like the ball bearing lock. It's a great knife. But I also often find myself lately more often carrying my PM2. It's the S110V version. I don't know why, and I think it's I love the compression lock. It's just cool. I just like it. So maybe that was why. I didn't know, but I don't like the ergonomics of this as much as the Manix, so I would go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the knife that I carry in my fifth pocket a lot, my second knife I usually carry too, is often lately this Native 5. And the Shaman is a grown-up Native 5 with the compression lock that I've started to like so much. So yeah, sign me up. That sounds like a combination of a lot of things I really like. So when I heard about this, I was really excited about it. It took me a little while to save up some money for one, and then I just bought one. So yeah, not disappointed. This thing is awesome. It is a Sal Glesser design. As I said, it is pretty new. It's kind of generalized as a grown-up Native 5, but I think it's a bit more than that. I think they meant. I think they knocked it out of the park with this one and made it a lot more than just a big Native 5. Let's get into some overall specs here. It is a big knife, overall length, dead on 8 inches, blade length of about 3.6 inches, cutting edge of dead on 3 inches. You do have your leaf style blade here. It is a flat grind with a little swedge on top. The handle thickness is pretty thick, over half an inch, which some people have an arbitrary thing of half an inch under. They don't want to put it in their pocket, but we'll get to that later. It does not feel this big in your pocket for some reason. Blade width of 0.15, which is pretty thick for a Spyderco. It is much thicker than either the PM2 or the Manix 2, so it is a bit thicker in that regard. It is not light, I'll tell you that. It's 5.2 ounces. It is pretty heavy. You got full steel liners in here, awesome contoured G10 handle, and a S30V steel, which is fine. That's good. That's good. That's a good everyday, reasonably priced, but yet good to beat the hell out of steel. I have no problem with that. It's got this nice stonewash finish, which I think, again, is kind of getting towards that beat on this knife kind of thing, because stonewash doesn't show the damage as much. It doesn't show wear and stuff as much as having like a polished blade or a coating or something like that. Let's do some size comparisons. Again, we'll start with what I talked about here. First of all, the Manix 2 and the Paramilitary 2. You guys kind of already saw that, but if you want to see them all together, you see it's not that far off of a Manix 2. It's a little taller, but and it's not far off in length from the PM2. Actually, the PM2 is a little bit longer. So, yeah, it's big, but it's not insane big. I think let's compare it to what else we have here on the table. A couple other big knives. Got your WE 617. Definitely shorter than that. And here's something that I'm probably going to do a comparison review between these two, so let me know if I think these are two cool knives compared to each other. This is the Steel Wheel Cut Jack and M390, and pretty similarly priced and in intended use. So Probably going to do a comparison between those two coming up, so spoiler alert. Oh, and just for the sake of comparison, because it's something that a lot of people have against your Delica 4. It's much larger than a Delica 4. Big shocker. Okay. Let's get into one of the main things I like about this so much, and what has grown on me more and more and more and more since I've used it, which I've been using it a lot. The ergonomics on this thing are freaking awesome. Like I said, one of my favorite things about the Manix 2 was the ergonomics of it. I just loved the ergonomics of it, and that was what made me slightly prefer it to the PM2. But this is close. Is it better? I don't know, but man, if anything, it's as good as. Or maybe, I don't know. It depends on the day, but God, this is really good in the hand. It's really, really, really good. I'm very happy with it. Some people have complained about some sharp edges on the G10, which is super easy to fix, but mine doesn't. It doesn't bother me anymore. Mine either doesn't have it, or my hands just don't hit where I can't see it. The only ergonomic flaw that it has, which is a very small one, is if you grip it back here in a normal saber grip, I can feel that clip on there. I'm going to put a deep carry pocket clip on it anyway, because I've got one. You know, I've got an MXG one that I'll probably take off the native, because the native doesn't need it, and put it on this. But yeah, it's ergonomics are just so good. And the most impressive ergonomic thing about it, and this is where it definitely is better than the Manix 2, when you have it in your pocket, you know, it's sitting like this. Your hand, you know, goes by like this when you're trying to reach into your pocket. Won't set it down, do it that way. It's so smooth that, man, it feels smaller than the PM2 in the pocket. Even though it isn't, it's heavier. I mean, you're talking like I said, 5.2 ounces. It is not light, and your PM2 in its standard form is like 3.7. Manix 2 and the version that I have is 4.2. So it's at least an ounce heavier than the two knives that I'm kind of mostly comparing it against. But in your pocket, it's so much easier to get past it and get something out. Like, I could still, this is a big sucker, and I could still put my little small front wallet in there. I mean, this is my wallet that I carry. Make sure all my card numbers are covered up. But yeah, this is a small little wallet I carry. I can carry these in the same pocket, and I can still get my wallet out okay. It's awesome. Even easier if I carry it with my vape pen, I can get that in and out easy. It's amazing to me how much it disappears in the pocket. And quality-wise, it's a Golden Colorado Spyderco. You know it's going to be good. And this one is really good. Blade centering is perfect. Let me make sure I can see this on here. It's got a power warning on my phone, so sorry, I had to touch a button there. Blade centering is really good. All the shiny parts look. I like that the clip is stonewashed to match the blade. I think that was a super nice touch that they didn't need to do. Even the screws are all kind of stonewashed looking. They're not super shiny, which matches everything else. Everything is stonewashed. I really like that. And going back to the ergonomics a bit, as Nick Shabazz, which is the only person I've seen who did a full review of this yet, pointed out, that the stonewashing, somehow it does make, this is one of the smoothest Spidey holes I've ever used. So, yeah, and the deployment, again, is your compression lock, which is basically an upside-down liner lock, but it's so much more than that. They're so cool. The compression lock is so much fun. It's super easy to flip. Like I said, I've only got about a week's use on this, and it was this way out of the box. It hasn't really seemed to break in that much. It just seems to be how it was when I got it. I haven't oiled it or anything yet. It's great in so many ways. I know I'm kind of gushing and kind of getting off my track here, so let's do some cutting while I gather my thoughts, people. I'm so excited. I just got to gather my thoughts a minute. I'm a bit verklempt. I need a minute. Cut through some paper like nothing. Great factory edge, and again, S30V is going to hold that edge for a long time. I've put quite a few miles on this thing, and it still cuts like that. Cut through a lot of cardboard and stuff with it, and S30V is not super hard to sharpen, so if you got to sharpen it, not going to be that hard. And on the big Spydercos, there's no sharpening choil, but you're used to that with Spyderco. It happens, so I'm not yeah, you know what you're getting into. But just great, great, great. Very excited. This knife was something I put a lot of expectations on. I know if you guys watched, I've been disappointed before. Like, I put a lot of expectations on the Chinese-made cut jack, and I wasn't as happy with it as I thought I would be. Now, the Italy one I just got, yeah, that's met expectations, but that'll be in a review in a few days probably. But yeah, this lived up to expectations. This lived up to the hype. It has been everything that I truly wanted it to be, and I don't really have any complaints. The price on this is about $150. So yeah, it's a little more than a PM2. It's a lot more than a Manix 2, depending on which version you get. But we're not talking crazy amounts. What's a PM2 right now? Let me look really quick. 126 for a standard PM2 that's kind of configured like this with G10 and S30V. And in the Manix, you're looking a little over 100 in something configured like that. So it is more, especially if you're just going by percentages. But if you're going by actual dollars, it's not that much more. And I think if you're doing hardcore stuff, if you work on a construction site, you are really out and about in the woods, camping, doing heavy stuff, you know, cutting kindling and things like that. Or if you're in the military or you're a police officer or something like that, this is the one. This is the Spyderco to get. I really do think that. And the sprint runs are going to be, oh my God. Like, I love this, but I can tell you I'm not going to own it long, because as soon as they come out with a cool sprint run, I'm going to sell this one and get one of the sprint runs, because I love it so much that I just want a cooler version of it. I just love it so much that I want it to be better. Maybe that's why I've been married 3 times. I don't know. That's a whole other video. But you just love something so much that you just want it to be even better, so you can just love it even more. Yeah, this, and like, if they came out with this in the S110V in the Blurple, or in the M4, oh, I would love it in the M4. Any of those sprint runs come out, I'm going to sell this and get that. So if you like this, keep in touch, because it's going to be for sale as soon as there's a sprint run out, and I'll give you a good deal. But it's going to be used. I'm going to use this thing. I can't keep it out of my pocket. And now that I've done the full review on this, the carry on it does stick out a little bit. For a knife this big, that doesn't bother me that much, honestly, because you don't expect it to be something that's going to disappear in your pocket. But now that I'm done with this review, I am going to take the clip off my MXG clip off my Native 5 and put on it, because I have to do a review of these clips too, and I think you guys would be more interested in seeing more of the Shaman than you would be in seeing more of the Native 5 lightweight. So lovely, I can't call it lovely. It wouldn't like that. If you called it lovely at a bar, it would punch you in the face. It's that kind of knife. This is a just badass, awesome knife. Big and burly, 5.2 ounces. I guess there's one downside. People are probably going to complain about that. But I think once you pick it up and you use it, and you really beat on it, it's not quite as good a cutter as the Manix 2, obviously. It's got a little wider blade, but it's still pretty freaking good. It's not bad at all. When I was cutting through huge acres of cardboard, yeah, it did slow it. You could feel the drag a little bit, but the handle's so comfortable that you could easily overcome it. So I know I'm rambling here, but guys, I'm just so excited about this thing. I really like it. It's nice when you meet your heroes and they're what you expected them to be. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you found this informative. I've been Bryan. Have a good one.